Welcome back to English Einsteins. If you need to pass your English GCSE, then you've come to the right place. At English Einsteins, you get the inside information on how to pass your English GCSE with flying colours. I will be giving you a foolproof way to succeed at creative writing, so get your paper and pen, like and subscribe. Make sure you watch right to the end, where I will be giving my secret tip that will impress the examiners. I should know, as I am an AQA examiner for English GCSEs. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, we're going to recap a tiny bit of grammar, only because it is crucial for success in your writing. In fact, 16 marks out of 40 are given for spelling and grammar. This is what a semicolon looks like. They are used to separate main clauses. Here is an example. It was cold and the sun was shining. In the first sentence, the two main clauses are joined by and. Notice that you can remove and replace it with a semicolon, because they are used to separate two main clauses. This is a colon. They are used to introduce a list. For example, your child will need many items for their residential trip, colon, a sun hat, trainers, pajamas, and a towel. The structure I always use for students so that they do not get stuck when they get their picture to describe is start. S stands for sky, T for 20 details, A for away, R for reaction, T for 2 was 2. And we will go into each of these sections through the video. Each one needs to be a paragraph long, containing high-end vocabulary and techniques such as metaphors, similes, and personification. Here is a short list of keywords you can revise, which will help with both creative writing and persuasive writing. So take a picture of those words now to use in your writing later. Here is a picture we are going to look at today. When you get the picture in your exam, there's 6 adjectives around the picture that you will use. Also write down the similes you will use too. The moon was as ominous as a predator lurking in the shadows. The last thing to plan, what could you hear and smell if you were in the scene? So pause there and create a mini plan. 6 adjectives, 2 similes, and list what you could hear and smell if you were in that scene. Now we'll move on to the writing. Firstly, I recommend starting with a one-word sentence. Then repeat that word in a short phrase. For example, chaos, perpetual chaos. This just gives a really punchy feeling to the very beginning of your writing. Really powerful start to your writing. Or malevolence, inevitable malevolence. This whole paragraph will be about the sky. Even if you cannot see the sky in the picture you're given, you can make it up to set the mood. Here are sentence starters you can use, and add keywords from the picture you took to complete the sentences. Alternatively, you can put the color here, but instead of just putting simply red, learn some shades, for example, scarlet, crimson, or sangria red. Another way to get a metaphor in at this stage and get some easy marks is to write, it was a canvas of something. So it was a canvas of malevolence. It was a canvas of demonic black. It was a canvas of, and then you can use keywords or colors there, for example. You can extend this for more marks by using words such as brushstrokes and splashes of ominous magenta. So words to do with the canvas, that semantic field of art, like brushstrokes, splashes, or palette. So pause there, set 7 minutes on your phone and write as much description as you can about the sky. You can use the sentence starters and the keywords. Moving on to the T, which stands for tiny details. It is almost as if you're a camera person and you've aimed at the sky and described that. Now you are going to zoom in on one tiny detail and describe it in as much detail as possible. So for this picture, it could be the moon, or craters on the moon, or the reflection on the water. As you can see, there are different sentence starters for this paragraph. You can use the prepositions beyond, below, before to structure your writing and make paragraphs link together, which is another trick to get marks from the examiner. So you have to test yourself in remembering these. To complete these sentences, remember to use color, your senses, Also, your similes from earlier can be used here. For example, beside the crimson riverbed and below the enigmatic canopy, darkness hunted down the innocent light to consume and devour it in its insatiable jaws. So pause and take 7 minutes to write your tiny details paragraph. Don't forget the vocabulary list you took a picture of earlier. The A paragraph stands for away. This is where you zoom back out and describe the picture as a whole. For the first sentence starter, you can use a combination of keywords. There are a couple of other important sentence starters to remember. A cacophony of sounds, : List the sounds you could hear. Cacophony means a lot of sounds at once, but you've used a colon correctly again. And the final sentence starter there is an opportunity to use semicolons to separate main clauses. For example, it was a palace of annihilation. It was a place of decay. It was a time of torture. Pause the video and take 7 minutes to write your away paragraph. The R paragraph is for reaction. Here you should describe a small event that takes place and how the surroundings react to that event. For example, a tree could fall into the water and a plethora of tropical birds could disperse like dandelions in the wind. You can add pace by using the sentence starter and then suddenly. I want you to pause the video here, take 5 minutes to craft your reaction paragraph. The final paragraph is just one sentence, but is punchy and powerful. It is called 2 was 2, which sounds confusing, but is easy really. Where the ... are, you have to put more information. For example, to wander this perpetual dystopia was to witness the depths of hell. Notice the 2 was 2 is in another color, and I've just filled in the gaps. A very simple example of this sentence type would be, to listen to this video was to be successful. Right, I want you to pause there. Take 2 minutes to craft your one sentence final paragraph. Now we have got to the end of our writing. I have a couple more tips for you. Of course, go through and check every spelling is correct. Full stops and capital letters have been used everywhere they should be. But also, anything that seems like it doesn't flow or isn't clear, just get rid of it. When I did creative writing in my degree, they described writing as a bonsai tree. You have to trim bits off and prune them to make your tree truly flourish. Sometimes you have to remove things to make them perfect. Quick checklist then. Have you used semicolons, colons, an array of keywords, similes, metaphors, personification? If not, track back and add them in. Thanks so much for listening. See you next time.